got one Caddies for one nation! No, you know what?
Okay guys, thanks for coming along again, for marching for Australia again. It was a great march last time, and it was a huge success. Now, we were able to force a discussion last time about mass immigration, and we'll do that again now because they think it'll disappear, but that's why we're here again today, because it's not going to disappear. Now, in the lead up to the last march in August, the mainstream media did everything it could to discourage people from turning up. And today I think what they've done is the opposite. They've just ignored the march because they don't want people knowing about this march. Even the woke PM Anthony Albanese was forced to admit that there was a problem with mass immigration. There was legitimate concerns by every one of you out there. They desperately tried to paint us all as racists. That's something that's desperately tried. So anyway, but something that can be discussed is multiculturalism, and if it really is a good thing. Who thinks multiculturalism is a good thing? I would argue we can't have multiple cultures. We need to all share one culture that we put above everything else. That's the Australian culture. I consider an Australian to be someone who wants the best for this country and our fellow citizens. An Australian is someone who wants to live in peace and prosperity and wants our kids to have the same for many generations. An Australian is someone who will always put Australia first, not all these other countries, not marching for Palestine. Being an Australian is something that is not based on skin colour. Being Australian is about shared lives, values, culture, unity on this island continent. And when you become an Australian, you need to adopt the existing values, our culture and our identity, and put them above everything else. You can have your freedom of religion, but not if your religion does not allow other people the freedom of their religion. We've seen that when they've tried to persecute Christians in this country, while at the same time allowing all other religions and boosting them up and allowing them to do whatever they want. You can have free speech, but you also must accept hearing things that you don't like, and you're never allowed to be violent. But some cultures don't see things that way. Some cultures are about their own cultural supremacy. And this is where multiculturalism becomes a problem. It has turned into tolerating things that shouldn't be tolerated. I'm very comfortable with Australia being multiracial, multi-ethnic society. I love that people from all over the world contribute to this country in constructive ways. Migrants just need to assimilate. They came here to be Australians, not to be representatives of their country of origin. You can carry on your traditions as long as they are compatible with agreed upon Australian values. Migrants who take the citizenship test are asked questions that make this clear. If your tradition and culture is to treat women as possessions, you can't carry on that way. If your tradition is to mutilate the genitals of your infant, that's not okay here. If your culture includes structural racism like a caste system, we don't want that here. If carrying on with those sorts of things is more important to people than being in Australia, they shouldn't have come here in the first place. But people from other countries that want to live here and assimilate are not the problem. The problem is the number of people being let in and the lack of scrutiny in the people who are let into this country. There is no longer a focus and insistence on assimilation of migrants. It did not used to be this way in this country. I remember when everyone was proud of being Australian, and when there was a real sense of national unity. I remember when the Sydney Olympics, where the chant of Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi originated. Back then we had real national pride. The highlight of the Olympics was Kathy Freeman winning her gold medal. It gave the nation goosebumps, and it demonstrated Australians aren't racist. If we were a racist country, why would we celebrate the win of an Indigenous woman? Kathy's win was all about hope for an Australia where we were unified as one nation. So how did we get here? Why is carrying an Aussie flag and chanting Aussie, Aussie, Aussie not okay? Why are we allowing mass migration at a time when the housing crisis, we don't have enough hospitals? We have overflowing roads, we have a medical system that can't cope, we have ambulance ramping up all day. Why are we being told that we are inherently racist for wanting to maintain our standard of living? Why are we being accused of spreading misinformation when we just point out facts? Why are we called bigots for being proud of this country? The media, Labor and Liberals are all in on it. So you have to ask yourself, why are they running with the same narrative? Maybe it's because the Liberals, Labor and the media are all owned by the same donors. The big banks and multi-corporations have a huge amount of influence over advertising, donations, offering politicians and journalists lucrative future careers. So that is why they all sound the same all the time. But this is not just the case here in Australia. It's something that has happened in all Western countries. Look at Europe. Look at the UK. They have implemented policies which are destroying those nations, and it's resulting in social unrest. We don't want that here in Australia, do we? But that is where we are heading as well. The UK Prime Minister, the two-tier Kia, wants to make digital IDs mandatory. The UK already puts people in prison if they speak out against the government. Don't think it can't happen here. It can. As a matter of fact, we're on the exact same path. Elbow and Starmer are joined at the hip. But we still have our democracy, and we need to use it. And that is what we're doing again today. That is also what is happening in the UK and Europe, with reform in the UK, the AfD in Germany, Marine Le Pen in France, and what has already happened in the USA with Donald Trump. People in the Western world are starting to wake up. If you're here today, you're already awake. And now we need to wake up our fellow citizens. To quote from John Farnham, you're the voice. Make it clear. Our nation is under attack. Mass migration and not requiring assimilation from everyone is a threat to every Australian, regardless of background. If we focus on what divides us, we will never be united as one country. Diversity is not our strength. Unity is our strength. If we're not united, it will lead to unrest and maybe even violence. Nobody benefits from that. So speak out. Don't be intimidated. If people say you're a racist for wanting to end mass immigration, tell them that every migrant who is already here will benefit from it. We need to look after the Australians who are already here rather than let more in we cannot accommodate without reducing our standard of living. So in summary, thank you for coming out here today, thank you for being proud of our country, and thank you for marching for Australia. Now I'll finish off by saying you've seen what's been happening around this country, you've seen the numbers of the One Nation Party growing, you've seen Pauline Hanson has never ever moved away or shied away from being targeted for speaking up for you, the people of this country. The same way Pauline Hanson hasn't stood back, we've got our Senator Tyrone Whitten here, who was elected in the last election as a Senator for Western Australia and One Nation. He's here today to support all of you, the same way I and my other colleagues who have been elected in this state under One Nation banner. We won't hold back to stand strong in unification, to speak out the things that we should be speaking out for you, the people of Western Australia. Now I want to just tell you one little quick thing that's going on in Parliament at the moment, just to give you an example of what our governments do. We've got surrogacy going in through the Parliament today, where they want to allow now, rather than just heterosexual couples who are infertile, can't have children, they want to make it for same-sex couples, transgender, single people, all these people being given the right to be able to have a baby through surrogacy. It's just disgusting, it's terrible. They want to change the rules so that it's not a 25-year-old woman that's had a baby before that's able to be a surrogate mother. They want to allow 18-year-old high school girls to be surrogate mothers and give away that baby. That's the sort of decisions that are going through these parliaments under Labor governments. It's such a shame that they think an 18-year-old girl could do that. It's terrible. Those are the things we are fighting for as One Nation. We have a voice and we're not afraid to speak up and say that transgender people should not be having surrogate children. The biological sex is a fact. So anyway, thank you again for coming out in this weather. It's turned out to actually be not a bad day, and I love seeing the pride out there today. And there's beautiful flags. Let's just keep waving them continuously every day, every week. And God bless you all, and thank you for coming. Cheers.